All right. Well, it's that time of year again, Coach. Good to see you.
Hey, it's good to see you too, Sal. And it's also good that you have your name behind you because in case I forget.
In case you forget.
Yeah.
That's right. I appreciate that. Because you didn't have this last year, these workouts, and really the team didn't get together until training camp. Does it even take on maybe a renewed importance for you, or how you go about it, and even as a staff, just kind of understanding how to navigate and what it means, especially for the younger players who didn't have this benefit last year?
Yeah, it seems like it's been a while since we've done it, and sometimes honestly, I even get, you do it so many years, and all of a sudden it's gone, and then it's back, and you're like, okay, did we do this last year? And you have those moments in a busy day, but it's really good to have the players here. I really appreciate the participation, the numbers that have shown up for us. I know it's obviously varied around the league, but we're certainly encouraged by the guys that we have here, and I think it really speaks to the guys that we have, the types of people we have. And so they want to get better, and they know they get better by being here. And it's a time to build our team, right? When you can be around each other, build the team, build the chemistry that's so important to good teams.
Thanks. By the way, remember when you're younger, you put the tape on the helmets you write the name on it so people know that's what this is.
I love it. That's right. I love it.
Hey, Coach, how are you doing?
Good, Maddie. How are you?
Doing good. Since you've had some of these players back now for a couple weeks or so, and since you guys are in OTAs now, just wanted to know an overall evaluation of, how these guys are looking since they've kind of been on their own the last few months since the season has ended, and what your thoughts are of them coming back and being able to train together again.
Yeah, it's so cool to watch how our players worked, last year, but also in the time before they got here this year, Maddie, to your point. And we've got guys that they like to work, they like football, they like the process that goes into getting themselves ready to go. And in our training staff, as well as our strength and conditioning staff, do a great job of making those guys accountable, and our players follow through. So it's led by our captains, it's led by the leaders on the team, and you can tell the guys have worked. They are in what I would consider fairly decent shape at this point, not good enough, but we've got time between now and the season. And I think the great part about the guys that are here is that we get a chance to see where they're at, and they get a chance to see where their teammates are at, and then kind of compare and contrast. Hey, what work remains? And so we've got some time between now and the season, like I said, but I'm happy with where they are, but much work to be done at this point.
Thanks, Coach.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, Adam Bedini, good to see you.
Yeah, you too, Adam.
Everyone, kind of society and the NFL, is trying to transition back to some sense of normalcy right now with vaccination and all of that. I'm just curious, can you kind of take me inside what limitations you still face inside the building and connected to these workouts? How close to normal are things right now, and what barriers or obstacles do you still face relative to COVID?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to put a number on it or a percentage, I think, Adam, I think it'd probably be, I don't know, the amount of normal versus protocols. I say we're 60% normal, 65, 70% normal, and I think that's good. I mean, it's nice when you're fully vaccinated to be able to, do some of those things. And so that's been good. And I think just with the vaccines, I'm fully vaccinated. I know Brandon is as well. You guys saw that the night of the draft, Terry and Kim as well. So, it's important to us, and I think it's for the greater good of not only our team, but the community as well. And so that's the direction and the choice that I personally made. And I know Brandon and Terry and Kim as well. So, I applaud everyone in our building that's been able to do that and improve our situation here.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, good to see you. Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Heather, good to see you as well.
Along those lines, we've seen some players, on social media have been vocal about, the vaccinations and whether or not to get it. And, I know it's a personal choice for everybody. Have you addressed that with the team, or, do you guys talk about, about that at all? You know, what everybody's kind of preferences, because it can be a dividing factor, you know, in the world today.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, that's being real about it. It is. There's a lot of debate about it out there. I know what I did. I know why I chose the route that I chose, and you know, that's what I know the most about. And so, you know, that's the decision that I made. But I think that you know, I'll keep those conversations that I have with the team respectfully to inside the building for now. And but I think it's got to start with respect. And you always want to respect people's positions on things. Again, for myself, I felt like it was the right thing to do for multiple reasons, and that's the decision and the direction I went. So.
And then a football question for you. You know, going back to the draft, just what have you seen so far from Greg Rousseau? You guys obviously went the direction of taking those back-to-back DNs there. Just what have you seen from him so far, and what are your expectations for him in this early process?
Yeah, expectations are just for him to come in and work on getting better every day. And you know, we know it's going to take some time, and he hasn't played football in over a year. Right. So with the opt out there. So we're respectful of that and mindful of that. But at the same time, there's an urgent approach by Greg and by our staff. And so, listen, we wanted to improve along our defensive line. And we felt like we've been intentional about that with Greg and with Carlos as well. So, you know, but they have to develop. And that's there's a lot of work that you got to put in, and I think they're both off to a good start, and so we'll see what today holds.
Great, thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
Morning, Sean. John Worrell.
Good morning, John. Nice to see you.
Nice seeing you. Just
You
along the lines.
you got a new hair thing going, huh? Since I've seen you last, man.
Well, it's still my hair, and I'm vaccinated, and I decided that this was the time to start fresh and clean cut.
I love it, man. I love it. The new you.
Well, it's the old you me, but whatever. It's still the same me. It's still the same me, unfortunately. So you have to put up with it. But on the vaccination front, we all know that there are benefits. Then how do you get across to your team the benefits of reaching whatever that ceiling is or the floor is to get vaccinated? And what concerns do you have about some of the pushback you got, especially with Rachel Bush saying that this could be a divisive issue, and there are players on this, big name players on this team, who are against being used as guinea pigs?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay away from that overall, that specific part of your question, John. Here's again, you know, it starts with respect. I think all great relationships start with a healthy amount of respect, and you know, you talk about getting to a certain level. I know it's been talked about around the NFL and sports overall, and you know us, we track things and trends and everything, and you know, Derek does a great job, and his staff of sending me some things that are going on with the other professional sports out there. And you know, I'd be lying if I said I know it to the nth degree what exactly is unfolded. But there are teams, I think last week in Major League Baseball, that had four players, you know, tested positive, and then the Yankees situation, 7, I think, a couple weeks before that. And you know, we experienced that right in the Arizona game where we had a couple at one position, the corner position, and it affected the game. So, listen, I'm not going to mix, you know, that with personal decisions or the personal life part of it. But it does impact our situation here when you look at it. I mean, we just experienced it last year, and you're seeing other teams going through it now, other sports. So I think it is something that we're going to have to deal with at some point here.
And just as a football question, Stefon Diggs talked about he had an injury that he played with, along with Cole Beasley, obviously, down the stretch. How has he recovered? And is he, when will he be available to be, out on the field taking, do you feel he's going to be 100%?
Yeah, Steph isn't here. So, as far as we know, he's all good to go. He's a tough guy and a heck of a competitor. And Cole, I mean, listen, you get banged up going through a season, right? And those guys those two you mentioned in particular, play extremely hard. So the great part about it being here for Cole is, he comes in, he gets the treatment, and he's working on getting himself right to where he can go back out there and perform at a high level again for us.
Thanks a lot, Sean.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Sean, good to see you as always. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, same to you, Josh.
Hey, I know this is OTAs, but looking ahead just a tad, because I know camp is right around the corner. Has there been any talk about what to do this year with camp as far as, a possibility of going to St. John Fisher, holding it, there in Orchard Park? Where are you guys with that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of layers on that, as you'd expect, Josh, right? With the COVID situation and all the protocols, more than anything that are on our situation at this point. So we are in communication with St. John Fisher and trying to see what can be worked out. And I know our operations staff is hard at work and trying to figure all that good stuff out. So I'm sure we'll have an answer here sometime in the near future.
So it's safe to say it is a possibility.
It is a possibility, right? We're
great.
And like anything, I mean, I just think overall, just to add, Josh, that we wouldn't be going about it the right way if we didn't look into it. And so from that standpoint, it's a possibility. Is it going to be a heavy lift? Probably so. But we're doing our due diligence to explore it.
Great. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it.
Yep, you got it.
Hey, Sean. Good to see you. I'm curious, is Star Latulele there for OTAs? And what have those early interactions been like since phase 3 has started and you've gotten reacquainted with him, and what expectations are for him this year?
Yeah, unfortunately, Star is not here.
Okay. In terms of the offensive line, I saw Cody Ford tweeted it was good to be back in uniform, get the helmet back on. How big of a year is this for Cody? And, how have you liked the way that he's responded from, another setback with the injury, kind of going in here to year 3?
Yeah, Cody's done a phenomenal job. Cody, and I would add Zach and the other guys that have been here rehabbing. That's not an easy deal. There's a lot of good things that come with being a football player, and there's obviously some challenges that come, and getting banged up is one of them. And the discipline, the commitment to rehab, especially those lengthy rehabs, like Cody's had to go through, like Zach, that takes a special person to be able to do that. And so very proud of the way that everyone that's been here rehabbing has done in terms of following through on their rehab. And Cody, in this case, just, the surgeries that he had to go through, and, just very proud of the way he's handled those as a young player.
Thanks, Sean.
Sure.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning.
I won't put my name, Sal, up. I think you know who I am. Hey, look, I'm not quite satisfied.
Is that a shot at the other Sal, or what? I mean,
No, Sal and I are good. I'm not quite satisfied yet with the answer on the building itself. And I point to the Cubs last week. The general manager was very, very outspoken about how he's disappointed that his team has not gotten to that threshold. It's a disadvantage for them not to be able to do things fully as a team. How concerned are you that this could be a divisive situation? Not so much now, but when things get real later on, if you can't do things in a normal way.
Yeah, I'm concerned about it, being very upfront. I'm concerned about that, as well as a lot of other things right now for our football team. And, I think, Sal, it's timing is, I think, coming into play a little bit right now, where the season's not upon us right now, but it will be at some point. And as we all know how these vaccines go, unless you get the single shot, the other double shots, if you will, take some time, to go through the time after the first shot and into the second till you're fully vaccinated. So we always have to keep that in mind, right? With, the length of time it takes to become fully vaccinated if you're going with a 2-shot approach. And not, I don't want to sound like a doctor here, but, I think that time element comes into play a little bit right now. And I think a little bit it's working maybe against us or against maybe more players getting it. I don't know. That's a question maybe for them. But it is something that we've talked about. And again, I don't think the right word is to try and convince. I don't think that's the right word. I think the right word is to educate and build awareness, and then let people decide. So again, it's kind of two-pronged, if you will, as I mentioned earlier, Sal, with health and safety, right? And then there's also what you got to do your job. And so I think those are the two prongs of the fork right now that must be considered and considered seriously.
And if I could you ballpark for us the percentage of guys you think you'll have for the OTAs? You mentioned some teams are really low. Can you give us just a ballpark figure on what percentage of players will be in town?
Yeah, I think we're 70 plus right now. So we've got quite a few guys here. Again, proud of the turnout. Appreciate the guys being here.
Okay, thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, real quick, is it 70% of the team or 70 players that are in attendance?
Well, I said players, 70
Okay.
plus players. Yeah.
Okay, great. Just wanted clarification. Also, certainly, as Sal alluded to, other teams, players have been outspoken. We know the NFLPA, and there's been that back and forth. What sort of dialogue did you have leading into this voluntary portion that maybe helped aid getting such a high attendance number?
Yeah, we've had good communication. I think it's it's flowed freely with our captains in particular this time of year. We went on several calls, and we had good dialogue. And listen, there's things that are important to bringing a team together, and it's hard to bring a team together when you're physically not together. And so the other side of it, though, is also respecting the agreement that's in place, and also respecting some of their concerns. And I think we try to do a good job listening as best we could, and hearing their concerns, and then adjusting where and when we could. And so I think our players over the years, we've built up a good amount of trust, maybe hopefully them with us and us with them. And I think it makes for a good, strong relationship. And I'm proud of the guys that are here, and the guys that aren't. Expect them to be working their tails off and getting themselves ready to go, because what we did last year is not going to help us this year. And each year is its own situation and opportunity. And so you put in the work, usually you see the results, maybe not right away, but you got to earn it. And that's what this league's all about. That's why there's parity in this league. That's why it's the attraction to the fans that it is, because every Sunday, every team has a great chance to win, no matter what the record was the year before or what it is in the current year. So we have to define ourselves this season. And the only way we're going to do that is by having our team together, and guys and everyone busting their asses to get ourselves ready to go here.
Thanks, Sean.
Sure.
Hi, Sean.
You need your name next to your.
We hold up.
What's up, Vic? How you doing?
Doing? Good. You're Sean McDermott. Okay, got it.
I'll put my name up.
Please.
Well, no, that's
forget about the sponsor. Forget about the sponsorship. We need names. Sean, I love you, Sal. Sean, because first of all, on the assumption that you, the organization, whatever, are tracking vaccinations, because it's pretty important, I guess, to know in your building or participating in what you're doing, who has it or has had it, who hasn't. Do you know, and I bring this up because for two big reasons. One, he's your quarterback. Two, he has been on record as saying at the last time he spoke publicly that he hadn't had his vaccination. Has Josh Allen been vaccinated? And two-parter on that, do you have a concern one way or another that he, obviously you'd feel, I guess, good that he is, or a concern if he isn't?
Yeah, Vic, I'll send over the list of all those that are vaccinated and those that aren't. And
Perfect.
we'll go about it that way. Does that work? And
That'd work, but
maybe we can do that for just the whole NFL.
In all seriousness, though.
No, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not going to get into it. It's not healthy for me to get into who is and who isn't, Vic, and you know that. I mean, again, it's just right now. Again, we're focused on going out to the practice field, and I'm excited about this second practice right now. And so I can tell you on the field, Josh has looked good.
Okay.
So he's off to a good start. Can we talk football?
Football
all right.
question.
All
football
right.
question. AJ Epinesa, your assessment of his rookie season and what you see in terms of his competing, especially with the additions of Greg and Carlos.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you look at his rookie season, Vic, and you saw it, right? He got off to a little bit of a slow start. And honestly, as we're talking about, the protocols and everything, what happened last off season, think about the rookies last year, right? Who AJ being one of them wasn't able to be in the building for the most part until training camp. I think that factored into his slow start a little bit. He's in great shape right now. I mean, he looks as good as I've seen him look, and credit to him for being here. He's been here most of the off season. I think he went home for a little bit of time and spent some great time with his family, and he's in a great spot now. He's in shape, and he's on track to have himself ready to go for training camp. So what I've seen to this point is very encouraging.
Thank you very much, Sean.
Sure. Good to see you, Vic.
Good to see you.
Hey, Sean, how's it going, man? Good to see you.
Yeah, you too, Marcel.
You when answering John's question, made a comment about what you did last year doesn't necessarily do anything for you this year, but you're kind of in rarefied air right now as far as your staff continuity goes. There haven't been a lot of teams the past 20 years who have kept the same offensive, defensive coordinator, head coach for 4+ years, and when they do, usually spells a lot of playoff success. You were part of one of those teams in Carolina with Ron and Shula for that run. So I'm curious how much that kind of continuity actually does help based on your experience and based on what you see walking into this building every day.
Yeah, I mean, it's real, Marcel. Continuity usually works to your favor. That said, if you're not careful, and not keeping things fresh. So that's the other side of continuity, is the challenge of keeping things fresh, keeping messaging fresh, finding different ways to challenge oneself to grow, and also challenge the people around you, and then challenge you. So, but the familiarity that comes with continuity is real, and having been through what that breeds is having been through experiences together, right? And knowing how we're going to react to let's just say, for example, situational football. We were just talking as a team about that this morning, right? How we want to handle certain situations. And so I think all of that is good, right? As long as it doesn't become stale or outdated. That's why we have to continually evolve and embrace that growth mindset.
Gotcha. So like you said, there's a line between, almost being able to finish each other's sentences versus, wow, that sentence again.
Yeah, I mean, that's real. I'm sure that players, players would say the same. Sit in the meeting, is it the same message over and over again? And there's a balance of, hey, what do you believe in your heart is the right thing and the right approach? And then how do you say it differently, or does it need to be said differently? So I just think always trying to trying to keep that vision in front of us is a healthy way to go for all of us, right? And to challenge and encourage one another daily to continue to grow and pursue being the best that we can become.
Gotcha. Appreciate it, Sean.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Sean, Mike Catalana, you've been, obviously you're focused on what you're doing right now, but you've been really open about how much you enjoy Fisher and coming down here. You're dealing now with the league and protocols. Could there be elements of the protocol that would preclude you from still feeling the same way about leaving the building? And can you give us any update on where we stand with that?
Yeah, similar, Mike, to the way I answered it earlier, and I'm a fan of going away to camp. The protocols are the protocols, and it changes the complexion, it changes the weight, if you will, of the operation, and so without going into too much detail, we are looking into it. We did send staff members up there to explore because we do believe in going away. And we also, have great fans, not only in Western Europe, but also in that Rochester area, and people that come from all over to visit us there. And it's a chance for us to connect with our fans. So we certainly recognize that. And so we're trying to do our darndest to look at all the protocols and all the layers on this thing that it would take to pull it off up there. So, or over there. So, we're going to continue to look into it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, Sean. Jay with the Buffalo News. How is Tommy Sweeney doing physically, and how is what he went through last season? How has that maybe shaped the way that you view the vaccination status of your players?
Yeah, that's a great point and a great question, Jay, because Tommy, went through a tough situation. Last year, missed basically all the season. And I mean, if anyone needs a reason to, or more information about, whether or not to get vaccinated or not, or the COVID situation, I mean, Tommy he missed all last season and it affected him for some time. So he's off to a great start. He's in a good spot. He's worked his tail off. He's been here most of the off season. And invested in his career. And Tommy's a high energy, bright-eyed young man that's got a bright future ahead of him, and it's good to have him back and healthy again.
And I want to ask you about one other guy. I know it's exceptionally early in the offseason, but Harrison Phillips is entering a pretty big season, the last year of his contract. You often hear it takes a full year to come back from the injury that he suffered. Where do you think he is physically, and just, the outlook for him this season in what is a big year for him?
Yeah, he did a heck of a job, I thought, last year, coming off the knee, the first year off the knee, like you said, Jay. And I think people take that for granted, just when people come off knee operations in particular, how hard that is. And usually you're right. Usually the second year is better. And Harrison's been here again, most of the off season training, helping lead our football team. And so I'm anxious to see and excited to see him play this spring and on to into training camp in the season.
Thank you, Sean.
Sure.
Coach Mookie Hawkins, 1-4 Sports Today. How you doing?
Yeah, man, it wouldn't be a press conference without Mookie, man. How you been?
I've been excellent, Coach, and I know that you're excited that you'll be able to get those 500 reps this year. So care to talk about your assessment of this year's draft class?
Yeah, Mookie, it's hard to tell. I mean, Brandon and his staff, they do a heck of a job, and all that said, though, I think the guys are off to a good start. Don't get me wrong, right? They're willing to learn. They're eager to learn. They're doing things right. Our player development team is hard at work around the football schedule to teach them what life is like in the NFL and continue to develop them off the field. And they do a heck of a job. And I think they're off to a good start, but we all know that it's, it takes time to really get a feel for what you got. And And so, I mean, right now we're out there in shorts, t-shirts, and helmets, which is not really football. So right now, I would say we're just taking it one step at a time, and we're gonna crawl before we walk here. But right now, they're just learning life in the NFL in Buffalo, New York, and learning about our city and what it means to wear the red, white, and blue of the Buffalo Bills.
Absolutely. And talking about last year's draft class, how important is it for them to retain what they learned?
Yeah, that's huge. If you think back even to the draft class before that, right? So a lot of these guys, so if you go back 2 or 3 draft classes, your first off season is not really an off season. And then you have the COVID. And then, so some of these guys, this is their first true look at an off season, or at least on the surface, what an off season looks like. Last year's class didn't have any off season. They had it from home. And now this year's class has a little bit of a let's call it an adjusted off season or a bridged off season. So, but it's good to have the guys in here to get to work on their craft and develop our players. There's nowhere else they can develop the way they can here. It's just, you got first class staff, you've got first class facility, state of the art facility. And this to me is a beautiful time of year in Western New York, to be here with the weather. So where else would you rather be?
And you took the words right out of my mouth, Coach. Good luck. Good luck today.
All right. Thanks, guys.